everybody, and welcome to the Rocky and Derrick Show. If you like our interviews, please visit our website, rockyandderrick.com, and visit our photo and video gallery. Today, we're here with
Adam Carlin,
who does
the director of Greensboro Project Space and the program director for the Community Arts Collaborative at UNCG.
Why UNCG out of all the colleges?
That's a good question. I think in terms of, I work in the School of Art there, and the School of Art has amazing talent, resources, and a lot of, this place is about connecting downtown Greensboro, the community, to this amazing, place where art is made and thought of. So I guess UNCG, because they're just doing amazing things there.
Like what?
There's a School of Music, Theater, Art, and Dance, and the projects that they do is really amazing. They have a great graduate program, and I think they're excited about new ideas. So I was brought here to help create a new contemporary art center, an experimental contemporary art center that's trying new ways to exhibit art, that's experimenting with, taking music and taking visual art and putting them together. I think I'm just interested in expanding the forms of how we look at art, and so I feel like it's the right place for me.
How long have you been working here?
I moved here about a year and a half ago, and so that's when I started here.
Did you always want to do what you do, as a kid?
Yes, my mother is an artist. She's a painter, so I grew up. You guys know the smell of paint, like the smell of oil paint. You guys ever see that?
Yeah.
So in my house, it always smelled like that. My mom had paint on her hands, and she, as a job, she painted people. That was her living. So growing up and seeing that, this is an option. You could be a lawyer, you could be a doctor, you could be a postman, but then you could be an artist. So I think from an early age, I knew that was possible, and so I started to pursue it.
What kind of art do you like?
A lot, I think. Okay, so what I do here is I create exhibitions for people to see, and so if it was just work I liked, I try to think about work that it's not in my field. I don't really know about it too much, because lots of people in the community have different ideas of what they like. So I'm interested in what you like, or what you like, and to put artwork in this place that lots of people different like. So it's more about talking to people, seeing what different communities or groups of people want to see. Maybe it's different kinds of music, or there's lots of people interested in dance, we'll do that. So I think it's looking around and seeing what everyone else's interests are. And through that, I learned so much. So I may think I don't like something, but then I'll get exposed to it a lot. I'll learn about why it's made, or the different things that come from it, or ideas or stories. And then that's always changing, right? What you like, so.
I look at art and I just see
It's okay.
So we went to this art thing, and one of my friends, he looked at art and he's like, man, I could just do this in 5 minutes and sell it for $1 million. That's how I look at it, because it's just sometimes just simple stuff.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and I think a lot of people have that thought. I could do that, so why is that for $1 million and this isn't? But I think even with this art, visually, is one thing, but what it means, what the artist is trying to talk about, the history behind it, the artist's experiences. So I think it's important to go beyond just what it looks like, So if it's something even really simple, or crayons rubbed across a marker, with a price tag on it, you got to think about, or maybe for yourself ask, why did they make this? Maybe they're talking about the history of crayons, or maybe that town that you saw the artwork in, crayons were like a big industry and gave lots of people jobs, you know? You never really know, so I think it's kind of like asking questions and trying to figure out why they did it, you know? But sometimes it gets a little suspicious. I don't blame you. When you see stuff that's like, oh,
Like a
that's
line,
the art.
It's like, it's
Yeah.
$1,000 dollars.
Well, also I think about like when it was made. So let's say back in the day, hundreds of years ago, people maybe just painted realistic portraits, right, of people. And then at some point, people started to just do shapes and all these different things, and everyone was like, wait, but we only paint this, you know? So let's say that line drawing was from 40 years ago. Maybe that was a big deal back then. So it's not almost like we're thinking about what that represented for that time period. So that's another way to think about it. There's a lot of like, you got to take the effort, I think, to investigate these things, because a lot of times at surface, when you just look at it, it's like maybe not that interesting for you. And I think when you think that maybe someone else, you know, anybody could do that, that's indicative of maybe that's not interesting to you. So you got to kind of jump more into it, you know.
Are these paintings in the back of us yours?
No, this is a graduate student. So at University of North Carolina, Greensboro, you know, there's undergraduates who go to college, and after you go to four-year college, you could get your graduate degree, and we have a graduate degree in art. So she's in that program. So she, I think there's like 6 or 7 students in the graduate program. I can't remember at this moment, but yeah, this is her work. And she made all of these, you know, this is kind of a body of work. You guys know what that means? Body of work. So it's all of these together is like the art piece. So each individually they're a piece of art, but she made them thinking about how they relate to each other and like in this space, you know, what they would look like together. And if you actually see that a lot of them, it's an actual object, and then it's a painting of that object. So it's almost like there's something going on here. It's almost like a puzzle in a way, if you kind of look closely at it. So, see that? See how that's a painting of that? See that? And then all throughout this, there's these different, kind of the real and the not real. It's very fun to look at.
So how big do you want to get doing what you do? Do you want to be like globally famous?
That's a great question. I feel like with the internet, like let's say you guys make drawings, you know, and people all around the world make drawings. Like we get to see it on Instagram, right, or on Facebook or on a website. So I feel like in a day when I'm looking at art, I'm like looking at people maybe in China or in Japan or in Europe. You know, you're like always experiencing other worlds or other places. So I think people in other countries probably see what we do, you know, or you know, or try to access this. But in terms of how big I want to get, I think, I don't know, big, why not? Yeah. I mean, I want my thoughts and ideas for people to want to, you know, listen to them and maybe learn from them. I think the bigger the better, I guess.
What is the biggest project you've done?
Biggest project. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like there's different things we do here. Some are like maybe it happens for a really long time. That feels like a really big project. Other times the actual art piece is really, really big, you know, but sometimes with that you just make it and you put it there and then you just live with it. But if you like are doing something with art that you do every day for a year, then that feels really, really big, you know. For instance, we had an art summer camp this summer, where each week we taught 2 different classes. One week was textiles in the morning and sculpture in the afternoon. That was a pretty recent big one we did, you know, where it's every day, all day, learning, making, working with kids and stuff like that. So that was a recent big one.
What museum would you like prefer to be in?
Oh, that's a great question too. I don't know. There's so many amazing museums. Maybe I could think about like what places I want to be in. Maybe in like New York City has great museums. California's great museums, but we have great museums here. We have the Weatherspoon Museum. Yeah. I mean, there's tons everywhere. I feel like maybe something in the South around North Carolina, that would be kind of cool, you know.
What about the Louvre?
That would be amazing too. Oh man, that place is really, that would be great. I wonder if I make the kind of work that would go to the Louvre, you know? Like when you think of the Louvre, what kind of artwork do you think of?
The artwork that's like the guy like holding the thing up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you like, the painting of the guy
No, like
pointing? Or sculpture?
A sculpture.
Yeah.
If he's like holding a disc thingy.
Yeah. Right. All those things.
What kind of art do you do?
I do. So I think right now I do less of making art, and I do more of showing other people's art. So imagine with this space, I bring in with my team different painters will do work, different sculptors or different dancers. So I'm more of a curator right now than as an artist. Does that make sense? So and a curator, you know, does that. They look at other art. They, you know, decide which one is a really good fit for this place or this time, you know, or this point in what's going on in the world. They think it'd be a good thing to talk about those things. So I'm a curator at the moment. And sometimes I do make my own art. You know, if it's, I do a lot of performance stuff. I do a lot of educational things. I do a little painting here and there. You know, lots of different things. I went to college for sculpture, so I did a lot of sculpture, which was, I worked with clay, I worked with plastics, you know, even like, you know, metals and stuff like that, learning different materials. So a lot of different things that I've experienced.
Have you ever met any famous artists?
Wow. I think so. I think there's, I don't know, with the art, with art it's kind of, it feels kind of different, you know? I feel like people who I think of famous artists, maybe, like it's not like it's like they're actors, right? They're famous. Everyone knows they're famous. Everyone knows all the things that they did. You know, let's say with certain kinds of music you like, there's people that you think are really famous, you know, that you really look up to, but other people are like, I've never heard of that person, you know? So I think I've met people who are very successful, you know, that have shown their work all over the world, who I learn from, you know. I look at their stuff and I look up to them, sometimes for years. And I've had teachers that are, you know, like that, and friends that are like that. But yeah.
How can people get in contact with you?
Yeah, so there's a few different ways. One, you guys can just come and stop by. We're open Monday through Friday, 11 to 4. You can come in, you can look at the artwork we have up. We also have openings. Like tonight we have a film screening with a piano accompanist. Last night we had an sound art thing happening upstairs. So every week we've got something going on to come, and that's usually in the evenings. So that's it. You can just show up. Another way, it's our website, greensboroprojectspace.com. Another way is Instagram at Greensboro Project Space. And then you can email us, greensboroprojectspace@gmail.com. So a lot of ways to contact us. Yeah.
In your own words, what advice would you give the kids?
I think to keep wanting to learn, you know, especially in the arts, and to know that there's a lot of ways to be an artist, you know, and there's a lot of also there's a lot behind art. So I think studying biology, studying history, like all that stuff. You have to make art about something. I think to understand that, you just got to keep learning and absorbing things around the world. And you know, and as an artist, all that stuff will really, really help as you're growing up and experiencing art and just doing it. You know, just practicing. Probably also meeting other people who are artists is really nice. It kind of motivates you, and it makes you feel like you have a community of artists. That's really helpful. So, yeah.
That's it for today, guys. Be sure to give us a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, and if you like our video, you want to become a sponsor, go to our website, rockyderrickshow.com. And while you're on our website, be sure to vote on our poll on who do you like best. All the options they have is Rocky, Derrick, Chris, and Tiana. All you have to do is put your first name, last name, email, and then you pick who do you like best. Be sure to vote.